Have you heard about Israel tracking American Christians, churchgoers in other words? Pretty crazy stuff here. I heard about this and I went and I checked it out for myself. It's up there. You can see the web address, efilefara.gov. This is a government document. It says here, received by NSD FARA Registration Unit, September 27th, 2025 at 3:29 and 44 seconds a.m. there in the morning. U.S. Department of Justice, Washington, D.C. And it goes down through here, and they registered something here called Show Faith by Works, LLC. Rather interesting name there, because if you go to the scriptures, James chapter 2, verse 18 says, Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. So the thing of show faith by works, right there, interesting little tie-in. And if you know who the book of James is written to, James chapter 1, verse 1, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Dispensationally, certainly you can get doctrine, reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness out of the book of James, as well as the whole Bible. But you have to be careful to rightly divide, because it's written to the 12 tribes. Right now there's neither Jew nor Gentile. We're all one in Christ. So this is when the 12 tribes come back, which is a future time period. Interesting thing there. That's why you see an element of faith and works. Read Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12. And it talks about having the faith of Jesus and keeping the commandments. So an interesting thing there that they would choose this, name, show faith by works. And name of foreign principal, Israel, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Address of foreign principal, Yitzhak Rabin Boulevard, Jerusalem, Kiryat Halilim, whatever, Israel. Right there. Country, region represented, Israel. You mean to tell me that the Jews would actually be trying to use geo-fencing and ways that they can control Christians while they're at church? Yes. Reason number, whatever it is now, to stay away from organized religion and these church buildings. Very bad. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go down to page 34 of this document. I'm just going to zip down here. Whoop, went a little bit too far there. Okay, and now here they start to list all the different churches that have been received by NSD FARA Registration Unit. This is the ones that they're going to be targeting. Very interesting right here, because you have Dream City Church in Phoenix, Arizona with 20,000 members. So what's interesting about that? That's where Charlie Kirk went. They were members of that place. And of course, it's the typical modern, church building. It's just dark, looks like a nightclub. Very typical. It's kind of weird because the Bible talks about outer darkness being hell, basically. Weird that these church buildings, the modern church buildings, want their sanctuary to look like hell. Weird. But you go down through here, and there's Baptist churches all over the place down through here. I'm not going to go through all this whole list in great detail, but you can see over here, this is where it's at. The town in Arizona, there's some in Colorado, one in California, and it's showing the membership numbers here. Because it's all about the numbers. Marketing, remember that, it's very important. 15,495 people at the Flatirons Community Church. 21,000 there at Central Christian Church. International Church of Las Vegas, 5,000. They're not doing quite as good as some of these other ones. But you get down through here, and there's one of 28,000, Gateway Church in Texas. 20,000 members. Look at that one, 45,000, Lakewood Church, Houston, Texas. I think, isn't that Joel Osteen, I think, if I remember correctly. I think that's the name of his satanic cult there. But you get down through here, you can see these. You can go get this document for yourself and see if there's one near your area. I'm not going to, there's none in Maine that are on this list, so it's just, I guess it's not a comprehensive list, just kind of, they're going to roll it out in the South first or something. I don't know exactly. I can pretty much tell you that there's, a lot of the towns in northern Maine, there's not 13,000 people in the entire town. So there couldn't be that many people going to a church up here. Then you get into the thing of denominations, and they go down through this thing too. And you can stop that and pause it and read it if you want to. So, a lot of Southern Baptist Convention, very heavily Freemasonic Southern Baptist Convention. But there's independent Baptists and things in there too. Non-denominational, a lot of that. Methodist, Lutheran. We'll just get down through all this stuff. The really important stuff is down below yet. I'm trying to get down to that. So down through there, just kind of some personal contact info and whatever else. It's kind of an interesting thing there. Invoice total, $3,258,961 and 5 equal payments of $651,792 on the 15th. There's some money changing hands, in other words. I'm sure that that's hard for people to believe. Oh, that Israel wouldn't be paying off anybody and whatever else. But I'm going to show you here in this thing, if you're still in these church buildings, God help you. Okay? It's real bad. Show Faith by Works, a Christian education and Israeli information campaign. I'll have to zoom back out here a little bit so we can see this whole thing. Okay, here's what they're going to be doing. Activities. Combat low American evangelical Christian approval of the nation of Israel. People are starting to wake up to see some of the things. Maybe start leaning towards, okay, this is the time of Jacob's trouble. It's for Israel, the book of Revelation, not for the Christian church. Oh, we can't have that. We have to try to make people support Israel again. Use biblical arguments to highlight the importance of Israel and the Jewish people to Christians. Educate Christians on the historical importance of Israel and its significance in the region. Increase awareness of Palestinian ties to Hamas and support for terrorism within evangelical populations. Why? So that when they start a war, then the evangelicals will send their children off to the slaughterhouse, known as the theater of operations. Counter new and evolving pro-Palestinian messaging as the global narrative shifts. You mean more people find out what you're doing? That might shift the global narrative. Yeah, of course not. Here's where it gets interesting. Use a combination of personal and professional outreach to the Christian community combined with digital targeting. Digital targeting? And social media outreach to increase positive associations with the nation of Israel while linking the Palestinian population with extremist factions. War propaganda. Okay? Large-scale Christian outreach and education to individual Christians and to Christian leaders, pastors, and professors. Impressive physical displays of pro-Israel educational materials, comprehensive digital targeting, and heavy geo-fencing of all Christian churches in select markets. You see the thing that I did with the other day with the walk and talk with my wife and my son? And she was showing how that they market stuff. Oh yeah, the merchants are very active in marketing. But right there it is. Digital targeting and heavy geo-fencing of all Christian churches in select markets. You have a big enough church, you have some kind of little independent thing that meets in a home or whatever. Oh, we're not interested in that. But they want to, through 5G towers, which, by the way, 5G technology was tried out first in Israel for crowd control back many years ago, decades ago. But we'll get this geo-fencing thing, and as long as you're in that geo-fenced area where we have all the Wi-Fi and everything else, and you have your little tracker box on you, smartphone, and they'll track you and trace you, and they'll see exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're looking up, and they'll put ads on your phone because you're in a geo-fenced area. Kind of funny, because if you read the Talmud, they actually believe that non-Jews, what they call non-Jews, are animals, basically animals. You put animals in fences. Put the Christian churches into fences so you can get them to market. It's nice. Real nice. And that's what they're saying. I'm not even making that stuff up. That's what they're saying. Messages, pro-Israel. Messages to pastors and Christians about Israel, its history and its people, its biblical significance, its place in the Christian New Testament, and more. They won't tell you what the Bible really says, what the New Testament really says. Educational messages about the history of Jews in the region before and the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. Educational messages about the history of the creation of Israel, its legitimacy as a power in the region, and its protection of non-Jewish populations. Well, like in Gaza, that protected the non-Jewish population. Education about ongoing activities to protect civilians and maintain moral superiority. Okay, maintain moral superiority. We're killing people, civilians, and everything else because we're morally superior. Oh, okay. Information about democratic freedoms in Israel, including religious and non-religious freedoms. Question the long-standing policy of a two-state solution. Highlight historical coexistence between Jews and Arabs continuing into the creation of Israel and the many concessions made by Israel in exchange for peace. Information about the great partnership between America and Israelis internationally. Christians in Israel, and the birthplace of Jesus' Christmas message. You can trust that, I'm sure. Messages. Anti-Palestinian state. Hamas is a Palestinian terrorist organization. Palestinians elect Hamas's leadership. There was never a state of Palestine at any time in history. Highlight the Palestinian and Iranian goals are not land-focused but genocidal. Educate Christians on the history of radical Islam in the region. Highlight Palestinian support for Hamas, denial of atrocities, celebration of 10/7. Did you just see that? Denial of atrocities. Well, we weren't killing people and bombing hospitals and whatever. Don't believe that. That's a lie. We need to celebrate what happened, 10/7 there or whatever. Yeah. Oh, of course they would say it's probably, actually I'm looking at that now, I'm saying they're probably denying that they've done anything to the Jews and that they would celebrate 10/7. Sorry. Educate Christians that Palestinians shelter terrorists, built the tunnels for Hamas, hide weapons in their schools and hospitals, and join in on the attacks on October 7th, which Israel let happen by standing down. Highlight history of Gaza and wasted opportunities to modernize in favor of conflict and terrorism. Wasted opportunities to modernize. Oh, really? So you bomb them into oblivion so that you could modernize their country. That's exactly what's going to happen. You come in, you'd blow up everything, and then you say, hey, we'll rebuild. We'll rebuild. The houses will start at $2 million a piece, and you won't be able to afford it, but we're going to rebuild. Wasted opportunities to modernize. You better modernize. Oh, you want your old house, and you want your old ways and things, and you don't want to have a lot of money and not be all about money? Well, that's a wasted opportunity to modernize. Palestinians refuse to recognize the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state. Hamas is financially dependent on Palestinian supporters. It could not exist without the Palestinian people's support, shelter, and to recruit from. Hamas and the Palestinians have killed many of the American Christian aid workers distributing food in the region. Hamas and the Palestinians who support it represent radical Islam terrorism and that still threatens the U.S. today. Oh, please. 9/11 was done on purpose. You don't know that. Intelligence, whole operation. Themes here. History of Israel, current events, protection of Christians and minorities, rights for all citizens, Israel's support for the U.S. in past conflicts and internationally. Just don't mention the USS Liberty. Counterpopular and incorrect arguments about aid, military targeting, the root cause of the conflict and legitimacy of their land claims. How churches can visit the Holy Land, Israel's significant links to Jesus and our faith, Israel's protection of Christians and Christian groups, Israel's participation with the U.S. in the war on terror, Jewish Americans' participation in the U.S. Armed Services. Grassroots organizing. Hire Christian staff in high-density Christian areas, where the markets are good, in other words. Demographics is what we call that. Arizona, Nevada, California, and Denver, Colorado. Physical staff present at Christian colleges, Christian seminaries, churches, and more, like Charlie Kirk and the whole Turning Point thing. Pastoral resource packages with pro-Israel support and educational materials sent to every church in these regions. Build and deploy a top-of-the-line mobile pro-Israel display with October 7 themes to be set up at Christian events. I mean, they're going all out here. Just amazing to me. Pastoral education and resources, pastoral messages to Christian leaders by Christian leaders. A little redundant there. 3 to 5 minute video messages and history lessons that can be played to congregations during morning announcements. Pulling out all the stops here. Videos from a variety of pastors targeting different types of churches. Youth messages for youth pastors and high school groups. Messages for black churches. Catholic targeting by a Hispanic Anglican pastor. Messages in Spanish and other languages by native-speaking pastors towards congregations that speak other languages. All right. This is a lot of the same stuff here, so we'll go on down here, just try to get through this thing quick. Again, they're showing sort of the Charlie Kirk thing, the tent, and the people they're asking or answering questions. Merch handouts there. You know, win the minds to win the hearts there. Connect with professors about education opportunities. Social media podcast. Christian podcast hosted by prominent Christian leaders. Sponsor specific messages and pro-Israel podcasts on several Christian podcasts. Weekly series updating Christians on pro-Israeli talking points and responding to current events. Podcasts focused toward educating pastors and Christian leaders. Christian social media influencers. Sponsor pro-Israel messages on popular Christian social media influencers followed by young Christians. Counter-current pro-Palestinian propaganda with response videos. Highlight positive pro-Israeli media. Digital support. Now look at this. The largest geofencing and Christian targeting campaign in U.S. history. I mean, if I came up to you and I said, just, hey, oh, brother, oh, yeah, how you doing? Hey, I have to tell you something. You're being targeted right now. You would go, well, that sounds good. You'd say, what do you mean targeted? What? Huh? I'm being targeted? But why? It's just, don't worry. It's just a foreign nation, Israel, and they're going to target you with lots of propaganda, propaganda to make you want to support their war that they're going to be forming here in the future. Geofence and digitally target Christians who attend any U.S. megachurch in our target markets and beyond. Use digital tools to identify and show pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian messaging to U.S. Christians and Catholics in English and Spanish. See, Catholics can't get away from it either. You look and say, oh, the Protestant thing, it's just a joke and whatever. Well, your Catholic system's in with it too. They're going to go after you as well. Use digital targeting to redirect Christians to website where pro-Israeli media can be found and forwarded. The website will compile pro-Israel pastoral resources, social media posts, and earned and bought media. Yeah, I think that's what they wanted to do to Charlie Kirk, and he wouldn't sell out to them, and so they took him down. Mobile 10.7 experience, and it goes into the whole thing there. Just VR headset set pieces, full-length TVs for interactive experience. Traveling the country. Israeli propaganda truck just pulled into the church parking lot. Everybody going in. Yay. Sure, whatever. Traveling team will attend table and potentially offer to bring the 10.7 experience to major Christian events. Christian events here. G3 conference. International Christian Media Conference. All right, 2 things about Christmas there. December for the Christian church is entirely about Christmas. Suggest targeted messages changes for digital megachurches in December. Israel protects Christians like no other nation in the Middle East. Israel is the birthplace of Jesus. Come see Bethlehem for yourself. And yet you go there and they hate Jesus. Interesting how that works. But look at this. Show Faith by Works LLC. They're in California where it's located. And all the different things that they have here. Whatever, invoice for all this stuff. Total, $325,896. I mean, the amount of money that these people just throw around, it's just insane. But then it gets into the whole thing of hiring people and building things and guiding and managing, whatever. You can read that if you want to. Target locations, densely populated Christian communities. They're going through all the different types there, the different areas out there in the Southwest. Pretty crazy. Southern California headquarters, Riverside headquarters. Just looking down through there, you can read that yourself. There's a little chart that they have and everything else, but look at this one. I thought this was good too. Possible Christian celebrity spokespeople. Yeah, look out for these Christian celebrities. Funny because this Mark Driscoll guy, I think I just heard something about something's going on there. Or is it Mark or Greg Laurie? I forget what. I think it's Mark Driscoll. That something happened or whatever else. He had to resign or whatever. Of course, you got Rick Warren there. The Council on Foreign Relations member. Perfectly fine, of course. And then, of course, you have the traveling team there. Interactive VR thing and whatever else. So it's pretty much a lot of the same things we saw before. So I'll just read this yet. Targeted geofencing strategy. Church targeting. The largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. It will be used to distribute our messages and encourage Christians and pastors to reach out to us and follow our channels. Precision engagement. Precision location-based targeting ensures only our target market sees ads, maximizing the effectiveness of our outreach. Okay, college campus focus. Target Christian churches on Sundays and Christian colleges on weekdays, with targeted ads for those who enter the regions. Ads will continue to track those who entered our target zones. Okay. Yeah, sure. You know, you walk in there and all of a sudden you're getting ads for different things and support Israel and all the other stuff. They're taking over your phone. They're listening in on you. They're tracking you like an animal. Now, I have a problem with that. That's why I have no smartphone. Never intend to get one. Okay. You're into that whole thing? Well, I don't know what to tell you. This geofencing campaign would create a digital perimeter around key Christian gathering places, delivering targeted pro-Israel content and sympathetic anti-Hamas messaging to engaged audiences. So there they go into some more money stuff and whatever else, and then that's where it ends there. Yeah. Be real careful about this stuff. I did see if I can find this real quick. I did a video years ago about church buildings being used as antennas, Wi-Fi antennas. Yeah, right there it is. Why are churches hiding antennas in their steeples? And they are. And I actually show the New York Times article there, and then the website where you can find antennas and towers in your area. Right there it is. But, you know, I go through all the documentation. I show it. I mean, it's insane what all is going on. And again, you know, talks about right here, we are a very poor church trying our best to help the people in the community. As money becomes a lot tighter for people, inflation is continuing to go up. There's no cost of living adjustment. You're not making more money, but everything costs more. And so people get more desperate for money. They're going to be willing to do things for money, to prostitute themselves, basically. And that's why a lot of these church buildings are going to go along with this whole thing that Israel wants to pump propaganda in. They're going to pay us some money. Well, you know, what the people don't know won't hurt them. Stay away from the church buildings. Okay, please take my word for that. But let me know what you think about this whole thing in the comments section below. Thank you for watching.